Welcome to a new lesson of Filmora. In this lesson, we're going to learn about cropping and panning in Filmora. Now, without any further ado, let's just hop onto the lesson by opening up Filmora on our device and show you how it is done. As you can see that I have opened up Filmora on our device. Now, obviously, when you are editing your videos, there are certain parts which you want to remove, not something like trimming, but something like the resolution or dimension of the video, such as cropping. And obviously, I'm also going to be showing you how you can pan and zoom, even when it is on your composition. So let's try to take one of the video first into our timeline and show you how it is done. So what I'm going to do is try using this, which I use most of the time, or I can also use this. It's basically up to you how you want to use it or which one you want to use. So what I'm going to do is just take this one over here. So as we have it, first things first, I'm going to do is just cut this part out, which I don't need. I can also do is just zoom out of the timeline panel so that I can see how long it is or, which one I basically need. Now, if you want to crop out your video or you want to crop your video, be able to open them. First thing first is that make sure to get that video onto your timeline panel and then click on the video or make sure you have selected the video so that these options appear up. Then what you're going to do is go off to your toolbar and click on this crop option. The shortcut for crop is Alt and C. Now you can over here, this type of interface opens up. Even if you select any of, this, component or your video and press Alt and C, the same interface will open up. Most of the time, I prefer using my shortcut key because it makes my workflow or makes my work a lot more faster. I would also suggest you to try using it because obviously you don't want to go through, using your mouse and then clicking on the tool which you want or search for the tool which you want. So after you have selected or opened up this panel, you can already see about the tools, right? Now you can see we have a option or the player over here. You can also stop it whenever you want. And then at the bottom, we have is about the ratio. Now, obviously you've used different type of video softwares, right? Even if you have done presentation, you already know about the ratios. Now, the main ratios which you most of the time use are basically 16:9 or 4:3, right? Different type of video resolutions which you'll be able to use in Filmora. Now it could be 1:1, 4:3, 5:4, 16:9, and there are custom resolutions too to use from them. Now you can also extend up this option or tool over here to see the ones which you want to use. Now instead of the other ones like 16:3, then we have 4:3 or 16:9 or 16:10, then we also have different ones, 1:1, 9:16, 3:4, 4:5, and there are also different ones such as 5:4, 5:6, and all of those, okay? So fix the one or select the one which you want to use, but if you want to use the original ratio, you can also do that. And most of the videos which you get online or, these type of videos with this ratio is basically 16:9 or 16:10, okay? Now from here, select up the ratio. There are a couple of them. We have 16:9. 1:1, you can see the square. Then we also have 9:16. Then we also have 4:3. We have 3:4. Then 21:9, 4:5, and also we have custom resolution. Now, when you're using original, you can see that we'll be able to use it in a free form. You can see original. There we go. But you cannot change up different types, such as you cannot extend it horizontally or vertically in a free form, okay? If you want to do that, make sure to select on the custom size first. Now, if you want to use any one of them, you'll be able to drag it wherever you want. Let's say I want 1:1, I want a square view. You can also decrease it, but it will still keep the form of that square structure. So you'll not be able to increase it on the vertical or horizontal scale either. It works in the same case or it works the same way on each and every one of these, saved up preset or saved up resolution or ratio. Okay. So if you want to use a customized one or a free form, first off, click on this custom option, and then you'll be able to increase it in a free way on, let's say, your horizontal pane or even on your vertical pane. Okay, so make sure to select out or crop out the part which you want to use. It's basically up to you, and you see how it will look like. Now, if I keep it like this and play it, this is how it will look like. Now you can change and check whichever ratio you want to use or whichever part you want to use. Let's say I'm going to do is just use this part, play it up. There we go. And this is how it will look. Okay. You can stop it. You can change it whenever you want and get the preview whenever you want. You can see play. There we go. Now, if I want to try any one of these options or any one of these ratio, I'm going to do is just play it up. There we go. This is how it will look like. Now, if I use 4:3, this is how it will look like on the player. Okay. Now, after we are done with our ratio, I'm going to do is just keep it on original scale, keep the whole thing. I can change it later on. Now, comes out the part about the resolution and about the dimension. Now, whenever you change it from the top to bottom on the vertical and horizontal scale or the pane, you can see the dimension also. Now, most of the time you try to keep it on, let's say, 1080p, 720p, which are basically the native ratios, or maybe 2160, or maybe even 4K sometimes. So if you want to change up your dimension or, the resolution, you can also do that. Now, it could be either from this panel by dragging. It could be also from this option. You can also increase it. But one thing you have to keep in mind that if you're using already the original ratio, and if the original ratio, let's say I'm going to do is just remove it, right click, and first off, get the properties. You can see the ratio or the resolution is already 1920 and 1080. So that means even if you extend it, it will only lose its resolution. So obviously when you are cropping, limits it to the last one or the highest resolution. Okay. But you can decrease it whenever you want. Let's say from here, I want 3160. You can see that I will not be able to increase that. It's because I already have, or the is 1920. But from here, I can put in, let's say, somewhere around 1360 into 765. Okay, there we go. We have this resolution over here. But if you increase it, obviously it will change. Now I can also keep it something like 1280 into 765. You can also keep it just the way you want to. It's basically up to you whichever one you want to use. And there are also a couple of, pre-built or already built, not templates, but presets of resolutions which you'll be able to use. And you can also change up the ratio whenever you want, but make sure to keep it the way you want to use it, or keep it in, let's say, the highest resolution if possible. But obviously, if you want to crop it, it's basically up to you however you want to use it, or such that it meets up your criteria. And after you're done, what you're going to do is basically just press on apply, and then the ratio or the resolution will be already, applied. If you want to undo the process, just press on Ctrl-Z. It will get back to its, default self. Another way of opening up this crop section is going to be right-clicking on any one of these options. Let's say I'm going to do is apply to of these videos, but I want to crop this video only. So I'm going to right-click on that. And on here, you have this crop and zoom option, or you also have crop to fit, two of these options over here. So I'm going to show both of them to you in this lesson step by step. So if you click crop and zoom, the same interface opens up, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, after you have applied any one of the resolution and you don't like it, what you can do is obviously you have the reset option. Click on that, and it will be, getting back to how it basically was, or to its default self. Press on apply, and then you are good to go. Okay. And the last one which you see, or the last thing which I'm going to show you about crop, is the crop to fit. Okay. Now, if you have any video which is not, fitting up, or is kind of scaled down or scaled up to your, screen or your platform or your player, what you can do is just click on this crop to fit. It will fit up to the resolution. Now I'm going to just right click. I'm going to go off zoom, And then I'm going to do is going to be reducing the size. There we go. Press on apply, and you can see that we have these black spots over here. What I can do is right click, crop to fit, and you can see now it has fit up to the whole screen. So this tool or these two options are sometimes very different. So as we are done with crop, we can do the same thing on each and every of these, videos or components which you have. Now let's go off to panning and zooming. Now panning and zooming is very easy or very simple. What you're going to do is just click on this option over here, or you can do the same thing. You can just click on crop and zoom and the same interface opens up, and we have two of these sections over here. You can see, or if you've seen already, you can just click on pan and zoom, and there we go, we have it. Now what is basically pan and zoom? So you already know about zooming in, okay? So it's not going to be zoomed in such as, cropped up resolution, or it's going to be like, zoomed in, but it also gives you about the panning. So panning is basically kind of like, tracking while zooming in at the same time. So I'm going to show you how you will be able to use that in Filmora while video editing. Now, when you open up pan and zoom in Filmora, you'll basically see two of these platforms. We have the end and we have the start. Okay, so starting is basically on the corner. So basically the platform or how it will show you, I'm going to give you a preview right now. So this is basically how it will start up with the frame, and on the end frame, this is where it will end. Let me just give you a preview. You can see now it's going to zoom in. It's going to keep zooming in until it reaches the end. Okay, you can see this is how it will look like. And I'm obviously going to give you, a difference about how it also looks like. You can see now it is just zooming in. And I'm obviously going to give you a difference of how it is like when you don't have pan and zoom. So if you go off to crop, you can see that this is basically how it looks when you do not have applied pan and zoom. Okay, you can see that we have the whole resolution the whole time. But if you use pan and zoom, it already zooms in at a certain point. Okay, you can see we have the whole thing in just, without pan and zoom. But if we go off to pan and zoom, you can see that this is zoomed in, right? So this is basically how the pan and zoom basically works. So I'm going to show you how you'll be able to adjust that when you are editing your video. Now we have the starting, section. This is the end section. That means from the starting, it will just zoom into the end. Now, obviously, you'll be able to adjust the positions. Now, you can also select the starting where you want it to start. And you can see that we have something like an anchor over here, which meets up to this one, right? So you'll be able to set it up just the way you basically want it to start off with. So this is where it will start from, and then it will move on to the next anchor or the ending anchor. So I'm going to do is just stop it. Now, you'll be able to set it up just the way you want to. Now you'll be able to, let's say you have this option green anchor over here. I want the green anchor to be in which direction. I can fix that. If I want it to be at the top, I can also fix that. Reduce the resolution, and you can see the arrow. So where it will start from, and keep it wherever you want. Let's say I want to start it from this left side, and I want it to get into the middle. I can do the same thing on the ending. When you click on the ending, now it will appear green. So you'll be able to fix it up. Let's say I want to increase the size, and this is where I want my resolution to be looking like. So make sure to fix up your resolution first. Now, if I'm using, let's say I'm going to be using somewhere around 1581. Okay, I'm going to do is just keep it somewhere like this. I can also fix up the height and width. You can also fix it up to 16:9. There we go. I'm going to do this. Most of the time, I prefer using a specific ratio, because if you have two different ratios or two different, let's say, resolutions, not even resolution doesn't matter, but if you have two different ratio, you'll basically see the black part outside of the video will merge in. So it will just not look good. Okay. So what you're going to do first is make sure to fix out the ratio, even if you have a freeform on both of the starting and the ending. So I'm going to be using 16:9 for both of them. You can see I fixed in, even though both of them have different resolution, it doesn't matter. Select on that, and then fix out where you want it to start from. Now, after you've selected that, press on and see how it basically looks like. You can see now it is being panned in, or zoomed in into a certain part. Now if I want to stop it, I want to start from this side, and I want it to show only this part at the end. So I'm going to do is just play it out. You can see it is starting from here, or I can also do something else. Let's say I'm going to stop it. Now on the starting, I don't want anything to be visible about this. So I'm going to do is just start on from over here. Let me just show you how big difference can it be when you are panning and zooming. Let's play it out. You can see how zoomed in it is, and now it's going to zoom out. Okay, you can see this is how it basically works. It's going to zoom out until it shows you everything on our end section or our ending box. Okay, zooming out, and there we basically go. We have the whole frame or the whole thing. And I can also do the same thing by applying zooming. First off, I'm going to do is just, I'm going to have everything on the screen. And now on the end section, I only want a very small part. So I'm going to do is just show this one over here. I can also do that. Just play it up. You can see it's going to zoom in until it reaches or only shows you the box where we have the selected end section to be. So let me just fasten up. There we go. You can see, there we go, and then it's going to end. And you can obviously, customize it the way you want to. Now, what if you want to swatch up the start and end? You want the end to be the whole thing, and you want the start to be a small thing. Now, you can also do that. Now, I've already shown you how you'll be able to do that already on how you'll be able to zoom out. You can but what if you want to just watch up? You don't want to, customize anything. You want the end to be at the same place. You want your end to be the same place, but you want to swatch it up. That's it. So click on this option over here. It will just swatch it up. And you can see now this is the start and this whole thing is the end. So play. There we go. It will show you the whole thing. So this is basically what is called panning. Now you can also do the same thing, fixing up your ratio, fixing up your dimension over here. It's up to you how you want to work with it. Then we have a couple of different tools which you don't see on the cropping. So obviously when you're using the panning and cropping tool or panning and zooming tool, there are a couple of things you have to learn. Now is from far to near. So you can click on any one of these. Now you want the farthest from the nearest. So it will just take you, to where it was from the beginning. Now this is the most easiest part, or the smallest transition which you'll get. Then we also have from near to far. You can also do that. This is the starting to the ending. We have like a couple of presets. Then we have is the from left to right. You can do that, left to right. And we also have right to left. Make sure to see the arrow where it is from, and you can obviously change it, and you can obviously change where to start from. It's up to you. And obviously we can swatch up whenever we want. And obviously if you want to reset up the whole thing, you can do that. So it's basically up to you. And obviously you see the grids. It basically helps you to, find out which part you want to start up with. Now let's say I want to start up with this part. I want it to be this part. There we go. And if I want to play it, there we go. This is how it will look like. And obviously it will just, zoom out and only give me a certain part, which is this one. But what if I want something like, let's say I'm going to stop it. You can see this is the end. But even though when we play it, this is how it will look like, right? You can see we have this part. So I'm going to do is going to be reducing the size a bit more. Make sure to see every frame so that you can see which part meets up which part. Okay? So there we go. Obviously, at a certain point, it will just get the doll out of the scene. Right? There we go. This is basically how it will look like. And another thing you might think right now that what if I want this transition or, the zooming to be faster? If you want to make it faster, what you're going to do is first off, apply it. And then we're going to reduce the size of this. We have 14 seconds now. If you play it now, you'll basically see that the panning and zooming will be a bit more faster. Okay? But it will keep the same thing over here. You can see that it's zooming out. And there we go. You can also make it smaller. Let's say I'm going to just keep it to be something like 6 seconds. And if I go off to cropping and zooming, now if you play it, you can see now this is a lot faster, right? But the same preset or whatever you applied will be the same. Then you'll be able to customize this too if you want to. You can also do that starting to ending. It will keep it the same. Okay. So it doesn't matter how, or let's say how many time it is, or even if you remove any certain parts, if you play it, the same effect or the same panning and zooming effect will be the same. Okay. So hope you understood everything about, panning and zooming and how you'll be able to crop out. Let's show you how you'll be able to crop out on this part too. Let's just take it to this area, and I want the cropping or panning on this part too. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to do is just apply this, and then I'm going to pan and zoom, cropped out, apply. I'm going to do is just again, pan and zoom. And I want to start over here. And obviously I want the end part to be over here. Let's say I want it over here. Do apply. And obviously I'm going to do is just reduce the size. There we go. You can see cropped out. We also panned and zoomed or did the settings over here. Do the same thing over on this video. You can see this is a bit slower because this is a longer video, but obviously it just zooms in and shows you how panning and zooming works in Filmora. So thank you for watching this video up till the very end. And obviously if you still have any confusion about any part of this lesson, feel free to ask me. I'm always there to help you, and hope to see you guys in my next lesson of Filmora.